Art, color, personal expression. That's what excites Buffy Sainte-Marie. Being around this legendary musician is a good way to remind yourself that childlike curiosity, energy, and joy never need to fade. The multi-award-winning First Nations singer, composer, visual artist, activist, and techno pioneer is like a kid in a candy store.
Hi.
Well, how are you?
I'm very well. It was so great to meet you in person.
Oh, it's nice to see you. Thank you. Look at this beautiful.
Oh, this one just...
Man, isn't that nice?
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Look at that one. Don't write off the life.
Well,
If I had to describe myself, I'd say that I'm a grown-up kindergarten kid. And when I was 3, I still remember seeing a piano for the first time, and that became my toy. There are mountains.
In her late 60s, Sainte-Marie is back on the concert trail with a new CD and DVD chronicling her long and wide-ranging career.
I literally play music and play art, and it has really saved me through some of the situations that we go through or get ourselves into.
Buffy Sainte-Marie was born on a Cree reservation in Saskatchewan. She was adopted and grew up in Maine. From the beginning, music was central to her life.
When I was a really small little wee girl with a piano, I've never taken any lessons, and I used the piano kind of like children will use their Barbie dolls or their sports for outlet, for expression, expression of all different emotions.
She needed that outlet because there was a dark secret in her childhood that she rarely talks about.
When I was a little girl, I was just interested in surviving because I lived in a place where there were predators in the neighborhood and predators in the school and predators in the house.
She won't identify the predators, but it still shakes her.
People who are pedophiles. And for me, just surviving the bullies and the pedophiles was like a full-time job. I was a frightened child. When I would be in the house by myself, I'd be happy. I had my art. When I was in my room by myself, I was happy. I had my books and I had my crayons and whatevers.
Music and art would sustain her. She went on to college, where she was part of the growing folk music scene. And then, in the tumultuous 60s, I got her shaking in my head. She burst into the music business when she traveled to New York's Greenwich Village, armed with a parcel of protest and love songs she'd written, just in time to take part in the explosion of guitar-strumming singer-songwriters who were bent on changing the world with their music.
Oh, it was perfect for me. Everybody loved it. Everybody just loved my songs. And I didn't know what you were supposed to do. I mean, I had a dress from Fredericks of Hollywood. It was kind of like having a dress from Victoria's Secret, right? And I had spike heels, and nobody did. I mean, Joan Baez and Judy Collins, that was not their style, right? So I showed up, Ms. Movie Star, and I had hair down to my fanny and these big high heels and stuff. So, and I was writing, I had already written Universal Soldier. He's the one who must decide who's to live and who's to die. And people heard that song, and Donovan heard me sing it in London. Right away I had gigs all over the place.
And it's real. By the age of 23, this young, beautiful, and confident First Nations woman had arrived, performing throughout Europe and North America, in coffee houses, on concert stages, and reserves. She was a hit maker, writing songs other artists eagerly recorded.
He's the one who gives his body as a weapon in a war.
Universal Soldier, a protest against the Vietnam War.
You're not a dream.
And the mega-hit love song, Until It's Time for You to Go.
And I'm not a queen, I'm a woman, take my hand.
In my very early 20s, I just made my fortune, by the time I was 23, I was rich.
Flush with early success, she knew what she wanted to do.
I had so much money, I started a scholarship foundation. And at first it was just for Aboriginal scholarships for Native American people who I would see wanted to go to college.
But for Buffy Sainte-Marie, that was just the beginning. Her passions were going to take her down new roads. Long before it was common for musicians and artists to use computers and digital technology, she was a pioneer in the new media, using all the latest technology to create her new toolbox.
I got a Macintosh before they hit the streets. I knew somebody, and I had a Macintosh, and all of a sudden, I could take my painting ideas, which I could do in my Mac, my music, which I could record and process in my Mac, my writings, which I could do in my Mac. I could put everything on a little disc, get on an airplane, come to Toronto, go down to Elm Street, rent a Mac or use theirs, use some of the fancy printers that I'd find in Toronto and Vancouver and all. And, it all of a sudden became portable to me, and this was as important to me as it was to discover the guitar after I discovered the piano.
Moving into the 80s armed with her knowledge of new media and her determination to help her Native community, she developed the Cradleboard Teaching Project.
What are the kinds of things that you would like other kids in the world to know about you and your community?
A program she's still very much involved with today.
Being at the head of the pack with digital everything, digital music, digital art, and digital education, education online. We were taking kids online in the 80s. We were connecting kids in Saskatchewan at a school that my cousin was involved with at Star Blanket Reserve, with connecting kids, non-Indian kids in Hawaii. We were connecting classes then online. It's been something for me that has been all pleasure. Just like the music is play, the way that I write curriculum is like play.
Today, the little girl who took refuge in her art and music has created an idyllic life for herself in Hawaii. Along the way, she won an Oscar for co-writing Up Where We Belong. She continues to teach, record, and perform. And tonight, Buffy Sainte-Marie's career will be celebrated at the Canadian Aboriginal Awards. Sandra Abma, CBC News, Toronto.